Hello, folks. Welcome into what I like to we call Weather Minds or whatever. I'm meteorologist Jamie Kagol, along with meteorologist Courtney, Aitken. How are you doing today?
Good.
Yeah.
Love the 15 minutes of weather or whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, you know, the show can come off the tracks at any time.
At any time, so be prepared. You never know.
Yeah, we haven't done one of these in a while, have we?
No, we really haven't. I think it's been a couple months at least.
Yeah, all right. Well, who knows where this show's going to go then? Because we're two of us things could get out of hand real quick here, folks. But we'll go through the forecast a little bit, and then we're going to dig a little deeper into it, talk about some things. You probably walked out the door this morning on your way into work, thought, feels a little nicer outside, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, it felt great, and
Yeah.
the breeze was just kind of the cherry on top.
Yeah,
so.
it almost, I don't think I want to call it spring-like weather, but boy, was it nice.
It was nice. A
Very,
great
nice.
change of pace. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look outside. They're going to bring up our graphics here, and here we are as we get into kind of the bottom half of the 9 o'clock hour, some fair weather clouds. You can see the skyline just fine. In fact, we'll talk about some air quality a little bit later. Here are kind of the headlines, the key takeaways. Those dropping dew points today, which is going to lead to a nice stretch of cool and comfortable weather, or relatively comfortable, I guess we might say. Although I think today and tomorrow are going to feel absolutely fantastic, at least in my opinion. And if you really miss the heat and humidity, the stretch of hot, humid weather we had, well, we'll make time for that as we get into the weekend. So
Not too far away.
Not too far away. You don't have to wait long for it. How about that? Satellite and radar, a little mix of sun and clouds out there. Showers pretty much just leaving the area right now. Looks like we'll have a little upper level cloud cover coming in from the northwest, but I think all in all today is going to turn out to be a very nice day. Albeit, if you don't like the wind, and we'll talk about the wind too, so kind of a heavy hairspray day, would you say?
I would say, yeah, hang on to your hats for sure for today. It's a northwest wind, so it's going to be refreshing, but it is dry air, so you will kind of notice that just nipping at you a little bit, and then also want to be responsible with no burning outdoors since it is dry air and it will be gusty today.
Yeah, this time of year, anytime it's kind of windy, it's just one of those, hey, don't burn outside kind of forecasts. Here's a look at the temperatures, and this was the first thing that caught my attention was the mid and upper 60s in northern Minnesota, and to think it couldn't have been more than a couple days ago that those were overnight lows and now they're daytime highs.
That is wild to think about because this caught my eye as well. I was like, oh my goodness, it's late July and we have highs in the low 60s for Grand Marais and for the Twin Cities. I mean, our lows haven't even been in the lower 60s, I think, for at least a handful of days. So quite the change. Will be the hot spot today, the metro at least, for lower 80s. And again, that's going to be a nice change of pace. We're dropping by a good 9 or 10 degrees compared to yesterday. You know, yesterday was our 10th day in a row of 90-degree highs.
Yep. We got some stats like that to share with you. Here's a quick look at the 7-day forecast for those of you that kind of want to get the weather and get on with your day. Tuesday, Wednesday, again, highs pretty close to 80 degrees. Those overnight lows near 60. Again, maybe some windows are going to open up this afternoon, or maybe people are going to drive the windows down, or maybe even windows open overnight. Hard to believe in July we'd be talking about that. But there's that heat and humidity ramping up into the weekend. What should it feel like this time of year? Well, Thursday and Friday basically is right about where we should be. And I did take a peek at the dew points Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Now they'll peak on Saturday. They'll drop off a little bit for Sunday, but they do trail off a little bit there for Monday. So Saturday, Sunday will probably feel the worst. Heat indices will probably be like mid 90s, and then probably going to feel a little bit better as we get to Monday, and then it'll look like we'd kind of hang out close to 90 degrees, unfortunately, but we've got some nice dew points in there. So this is your forecast breakdown, basically what we just kind of went over, those mild and seasonal temperatures. Again, low 80s into mid 80s. I would say relatively comfortable, wouldn't you?
I would say relatively comfortable for sure. I mean, it's going to be a lot different than the past several days, and I think that everybody will welcome those 80s. Dry air, nice and warm, and really right where we should be.
Yeah. And then for the weekend, there it is. highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s. Boys, that just takes you back to last week, doesn't it?
Exactly. Like we said, not too far away. So enjoy the break. It's only going to last really through the end of the work week. And then, as you just talked about, we'll see those dew points kind of surging on Saturday. That'll be the most tropical day, should we say. And then the heat gets a little bit drier into Monday, but it will warm back up regardless. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah. All right, there's the Almanac, 81, 69. So we bottomed out at 69. We're expecting a high of 81. You can see, again, pretty close to the averages, not too far off there. The record high of 105 in 1934. Yeah, no desire to go there right now. There it is, our stretch of 90-degree days, 10 of them. So that makes it the third longest stretch of 90-degree consecutive days. The longest streak there, 14 in 1936. And this time of year, a lot of your record highs and your high temperature records are going to be back in the Dust Bowl of the 1930s. So our record high today was 1935. This will be 1936. So yeah, right in the heart of the Dust Bowl there. So no surprise with numbers like that. We were talking about the winds earlier today. Again, rather noticeable winds. This is current numbers. So again, kind of 930. Winds 10, 20 miles an hour, even a little bit stronger. Mankato, Rochester, Menominee, 21 miles an hour. And certainly looks like that we're going to have some pretty good wind gusts. Looks like they're going to top out pretty close at the lunch hour, maybe even a little bit beyond there. But again, that 20 to 30 range, and we just don't have a lot of windy days in July. So this is kind of stands out, kind of jumps out at you. But here's the good news. We get into the evening hours, and these are the gusts. So these will be quieting down through the overnight. So
yeah, we'll settle down overnight, and it'll be quiet, so you can open your windows and you won't have a bunch of wind blowing either. It'll be a really nice evening, but this afternoon for sure, winds will be whipping. Current temperatures as of about 9:30 are in the low 70s for the Twin Cities. We have some areas on the map in the lower 60s. I call that brisk, but I'm kind of a wimp, Jamie. I don't know. Upper 60s for Wilmer, 66 in Alexandria. It's kind of interesting. The temperatures themselves aren't too far off from where they were yesterday at this time. We were in the low 70s, but it just feels so different because the dew points are so far from where they were yesterday.
Here's the 24-hour temperature change. So again, we like you said, we were starting out with the 60s and the 70s. In fact, Twin Cities is only 4 degrees off.
There certainly are areas that are seeing a big difference, like Brainerd, my goodness, 15 degrees cooler than they were yesterday morning. So that's a change you will certainly notice.
Yeah. And then when we take a look at the dew points, I always highlight the dew points this time of year because that just tells you how your day is really going to be. If your temperatures are mid 80s or 90 degrees or even a low 80, it's still warm to hot, but the dew point is what's going to tell you, are you going to be outside enjoying that warm day, or are you going to be miserable? And 50s. This morning, when we kicked off the show, there were still some low 60s in southern Minnesota. Those are still pushing out here to the southeast, but look what we're welcoming in. International Falls has a dew point right now, 49.
That is really dry air, which probably feels nice, but a little bit wary of that just because of the fire danger in that region. So that's something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. But at least here locally, those dew points in the mid 50s are just fabulous compared to what we've been dealing with.
Yeah, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't checked in the last half hour or so, but if they issue any sort of fire weather dangers, it's not really hot, but it is windy and dry.
Yeah.
So they may not, the National Weather Service, it may not hit their criteria, but they might issue something that says, hey, even though we don't have a fire weather danger today, best not to be out there burning. They might issue a special weather statement, but I would say today, really not a good idea to have any sort of outdoor fires, or be careful of those heat sources too. Here's the big selling point. Look at the 24-hour change in your dew points. If you can get it to drop 10 to 20 degrees, you can pretty much get it to feel like it changed seasons.
That's how you really turn the day around. Yeah, I like that. It does feel like you almost changed seasons.
Yeah. But it takes a significant drop in the dew points. It's not just a couple of degrees, but I always say if you can get to about 15, maybe 20, you can take it from summer to spring real quick. So there's that dew point trend we were talking about. Again, we're going to have these 50s. Look at Wednesday, we might even be dipping down into the upper 40s, low 50s. I'm sure we'll see 40s on the map for dew points in the northern half of the region.
Sure.
So again, really considerably dry air for this time of year, definitely. And then you look down the road and here it comes. Saturday, it looks like it's going to peak into those upper 60s. Like I said, heat indices probably take us to the mid 90s. But the encouraging thing there is that little drop off. So you go from Saturday, Sunday into Monday. I mean, a dew point near 60.
I'll take it. 90 degrees with a dew point in the low 60s, upper 50s. I'll take that. That just feels like summertime to me. So Saturday does look like it'll be the quote unquote worst of it with just a little bit more humid feel. We're going to be in the 90s, not quite tropical, but it'll be more muggy, certainly more muggy than it is today. And then that heat and that humidity does level out, at least just slightly by Monday.
Yeah, it looked like we might even see a little more of a drop as we got into Tuesday, but overall the trend, it looked like dew points would hang out pretty close to 60 for the better part of next week, which is still encouraging. There's a look at our satellite and radar right now, and what's bringing us that cooler, drier air is what that low just south of Hudson Bay, just kind of pumping in those north and northwest winds for us. Severe weather is pushing to the east. That cold front is just keeping everything well to the east of us right now, and this is where the severe weather outlook is pinpointing. So again, kind of mid-Atlantic, northeast, and southern Great Lakes region in the enhanced risk, so they are going to have themselves a rather busy afternoon and evening looking like. For us, not bad. Here's the storm reports from yesterday. I think I counted about 8 tornado reports or funnel cloud reports of Wisconsin, and then that lonely little tornado report up there in the UP, that was a water spout. It's kind of the last place I'd ever expect a water spout.
I would agree with that. Yeah, it's surprising to see, but Wisconsin, the UP, Iowa certainly had a busy night last night with that high tornado threat. I'm sure lots of folks were watching the radar. So.
Out towards Wausau, that was highlighted last night. Black River Falls, it looks like they had a tornado report there. So, rather busy evening for central, southern Wisconsin for us. Not expecting anything too much. A little bit of cloud cover, a mix of sun and clouds. Air quality, this is also encouraging. So we have a lot of good news for people today. So good to see at least moderate. If it's green or yellow out there, it's really not going to have too much of an effect on anybody. And there's a look at those temperatures. I think we already highlighted this once before, but 60s to the north, so a little on the cooler side, 70s, and we're going to sit at about 81 degrees. Let's take you to the microcast, and I think we're going to talk some tropics.
Oh, yeah, we do have some tropical activity to talk about in the Gulf. You might have heard about that. Storm is brewing down there. There it is. Tropical Storm Bertha. So this is sort of a messy area of low pressure at this time. You can see it hasn't really swirled together to form that textbook look that really kind of scares people. Winds right now 50 miles per hour. It's moving off to the northwest at 5. So the cone takes this towards Houston by about Friday, but it could make landfall. It kind of remains to be seen, but it could hit land in Mississippi, and then it's expected to kind of fizzle out as it moves into the coastal plains of Texas, ultimately becoming just a fizzled out area of low pressure by about Friday, Saturday. But just important to keep in mind, a lot could change here, Jamie.
Yeah, it's not a very strong system, winds of 50. Now, you have experience with some of the tropical weather, your time in Texas. I was in Fort Myers, and we called these homegrown storms when they form over the Gulf or like Western Caribbean area. They're not coming in from the Atlantic. This one is, I would say, less than impressive in terms of a meteorologist looking at it. But consider this. We're late July, and we're only on letter B. It's been extremely quiet.
Yeah, that's essentially just like we're barely dipping our toes in because our list goes in alphabetical order. So to be this deep into the season and only be on letter B, it's kind of surprising, especially for the Atlantic season.
It is.
I can't remember if it was last year or maybe the year before. Do you remember when they had to add names?
Yeah, there's been a couple of those where then they got into the Greek alphabet.
Yes,
stuff like that.
Exactly.
And then the other thing with this one is there's not a whole lot of moisture and rainfall along the coast.
It's just so close to land, which is another interesting component of this.
Yeah, interesting. So, which is good news for them because, again, heavy rainfall in that part of the country is very, very dangerous. So here's hoping that, enough rain to keep the lawns wet, but hopefully we don't have any problems, and hopefully no one gets hurt down there. There's a look at the 7-day forecast. Again, enjoy these next couple of days. They are going to be beauties. And get ready for the heat and humidity as we get into the weekend. More news coming up right after this.